Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the cabinet. Today, I am joined by a good Twitch friend of mine who I met through Twitter. And from that moment that we met, the movie talk never stopped, and that is why we are here making a whole podcast episode about it. So, please welcome Eld, and go ahead, introduce yourself, say hi.
Hello, everyone.
And really quick before we actually get into the conversation, I want to give everybody a disclaimer about spoilers because this is movie talk, which means that there may be some spoilers. We will mention it ahead of time if you still want to continue listening in case there's a movie you want to hear about. But just so you know, there will be spoilers, more or less. So yeah, just want to throw that out there really quick. But I have Eld today on this podcast episode because from the beginning, I think the first thing we really talked about, yeah, I think it was the first thing that we talked about because I joined your chat and you said to me, "Oh, I heard you were a film major." I got really excited about that.
Yeah, that was the first stream I caught of you and Mac.
Yeah, and you thought we
Yep.
were both film majors.
I don't know. I just heard it, and that's all I cared about.
I didn't. Yeah, I know. I don't even like remember mentioning it because I never actually graduated from it, so I kind of like try to forget that a bit because people think, oh, she's a film major. She must know everything about films that ever existed in the world, and that is so far from the truth. Like,
It's almost safer to say you love movies.
yeah, I like to watch movies. I like to analyze movies, but I'm not going to. I'm not like a crazy film major director. I mean, I make films, but it doesn't. I don't count that. Um,
hmm
you know more
I,
about
fe-
films than me.
I fear the word film has like negative connotations just due to not what it's become per se, but just what the words come to mean more so.
Mm,
As you said, there's certain feels about about the film world, and
yeah.
people are not worried about letting you know it. At
Yep.
least their opinion.
It is very opinionated field. That's why I stopped being a film major because the opinions, like, yes, I can understand opinions, but at a certain point when you're telling me, like, this is how you should write because this
Mm.
is what, like, the textbook told me, it's kind of like, but, like, why is that the only way I should write? Like, huh? It just.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
that caught me so off guard when you do that voice.
I'm just saying, like the whole. I think the whole issue that you're alluding to with that is that you're being told how to interpret a story when, yes, okay, the person that comes up with this story, whether it's book or movie, they do have their own idea of what that
Hmm.
story is. But once that thing is put out in the world, that allows everybody else to have their own memory of what that story was or what it meant to them. And that's, I think, like a lot of different places. I mean, that's just where we're having struggles, is the fact that we have different opinions. People,
Yeah.
you get a person that loves a movie, and then you get a group of the people that love that movie. And then, if you say you don't like it, that group is not going to be happy, because to them, it is by far the best movie ever. But, to you it's good, but it's probably a one watcher. you
Hmm.
know I've seen it, and now I'm okay. Like, I've got, I have, somewhere in the wheelhouse of 600 DVDs in my collection, and I can tell you I've got a fair amount that I've watched once, and that's it. And they sit there, but it's there if I
My
want it.
God. I thought you had like 400.
Oh, no. No, no, no. I have two stands that hold roughly 200, 250-ish. So we'll say together they're about 450. And then I got about four boxes that probably hold, I don't know, somewhere like 30, 40 each.
Oh my
So,
God.
yeah. Yeah,
Do you
I I collect movies.
You really?
You could say that. Yeah. I
Yeah.
liken it to in my day, I suppose, back in my day, you would say like It's my stamp collection in a way. It's just through it's no different than somebody who has a bookshelf full of books. I'm just reading different stories in a way.
Well, do you have a movie on there? Because I know you said you haven't watched every single movie there. Is there like a number one on your little DVD stand that like you've been dying to watch but you just haven't had the time?
Uh, right now it would have to be Clerks 3.
Right.
Um, like I love I, I get a lot, not just into like movies, but I like to study kind of not study. I mean, I guess I put certain intention on the word. I like to peruse information about a movie, things about that movie, the director, and the lore behind the movie, and Kevin Smith's like rags to riches kind of story is just it's inspiring in a way. He's doing things that you see a lot of people nowadays really doing. I think it's become, I don't want to say mainstream more so, but it's become more of an acceptable thought that you can take your dream and you can run with it, and that's what that man did. I mean, he made Clerks while working at that gas station that I'm pretty sure it was named exactly what it is in
Oh,
the film.
really?
I'm almost positive. He made that movie with his friends and some people at a local college that were trying to be actors. And he did it all on credit cards. He took a bunch of credit cards out and he went hard into debt to be
Oh,
able to film that
wow.
movie. That's why the movie is in black and white. He couldn't afford to film it in color. And for the music he wanted in the movie, he needed to cut back on the rest of the budget in a way. But that's what makes that movie so beautiful and pure to me, is that you have this kid with a dream who's trying to create an amazing story. And I personally think that, and yes, there's wild antics, and I mean, this isn't a movie you're gonna watch in proper company. We'll say, there's a lot of cursing and dirty jokes and what have
Mm.
you, but that's kind of what keeps it real. That's what ties it to reality, because you can see these people, like you can see yourself in some of these characters even. Anybody that's worked retail can definitely connect with that movie on a certain level. And again, that's what makes it such a good movie to me, is that it draws you in. It allows you to get lost in the story. You're not feeling like you're having to work to put yourself in there. You just easily find little bits, and even when they have very ridiculous situations, you can still find what feels like a grain of maybe something you've dealt with in there. And so Clerks 2 was his sophomore of that series, and that one was big budgeted, and so he went big budgeted, and he himself admits that he's not exactly happy with it, but he still loves it. It's part of the story. And
Yeah,
then
that
and
happens.
then we yeah, yeah. And I mean, it's hard to follow something like Clerks back up. But Clerks 3, from what from the few things I've seen, I try not to spoil too much. It seems like he's getting a little more back to the roots of drawing on life more so for the story, and I've heard very good things about how it makes people feel. So
Hmm.
I would say that'd be my number one. I love to feel when I'm watching a movie.
Is
Like that's why
Clerks
I'm there.
like the number one, like as in like your favorite movie, or is it still like I know you mentioned Eternal Sunshine a lot,
Mm.
which I actually just recently watched.
Oh,
Um,
did you?
yeah, it's one of my
Okay.
friend's favorite movies. He's a big movie guy, and I was like, all right, fine, I'll watch it. It's not that like I despised it or anything. It
Yeah.
just wasn't. I have so
It's
many movies on my watch list, so it wasn't number one. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it was
Mm-hmm.
Jim Carrey. I wanted to see him in a more serious role because I guess the most serious I saw him in was Truman Show, which was serious, but also was still him kind of goofing around for like half of the movie, just kind of living his life. So it wasn't as serious. Eternal Sunshine, like the majority of the movie was pretty serious of a movie, um, but he's one of my favorite actors. So I was like, all right, you know, I'll watch it. I gotta watch it. Um, but that's it. Is that your favorite, or is it? Um, I know you're not good at favorites, but
Well, no, no, no. How are we gonna jump over that? How did you like it though? I mean, you
um,
said like you enjoyed it. I'm just
yeah,
curious. I'm just curious. I would like your honest opinion. That's all.
yeah. I mean, I'll always give my honest opinion on movies, even though people like to call me like a harsh rater. But I think it's just, um, I personally think no matter what, and I knowing you, I don't know. I think you would disagree, but this is just a me kind of thing. That a 10 out of 10 movie does not exist for me because
Hmm.
that's like saying something is perfect and um it could be fantastic, but to be perfect, I mean, how do you be perfect, you know? There's got to be something, and
Hmm.
there always is. um there are movies that are very close, I would say, but I don't feel right giving something a 10 out of 10 because that word perfect just doesn't, it just doesn't work with my brain, I guess. But Eternal Sunshine for me was not what I expected, I guess.
Hmm.
I knew it was, like a romance. I don't think I expected the relationship to be as like toxic, I guess, as it was. Um, so seeing that confused me a little bit because I thought it was, I thought they were like perfect together kind of thing. And spoiler, just in case this could be, even though they ended up together no matter what, which means I guess technically yes they were meant for each other, but it was a little toxic, which I
Hmm.
think surprised me a bit. Um,
Oh, I agree. I do think that I personally feel like what the movie was kind of trying to point out there was that neither of them really wanted to change,
mhm.
and I think that's what graded them against each other so much is this inability to accept that they themselves needed to also be different a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Like not that they were bad off, but that like in order for them to work together, they had to be able to make compromise, and it seemed like neither of them 100% wanted to make
yeah.
compromise.
No, I don't think
To
they
me, that's
really
how it
did.
really felt, you know. And then really what's beautiful about it to me though is that and this is gonna be a spoiler alert here, so you know, prep yourselves. But in the how do I want to put that? I guess like for Joel, in the process of erasing Valentine or Clementine, I'm sorry about screwed that. In the process of erasing Clementine, he realizes that no matter how bad it was, she made him feel a certain way,
Mhm.
especially when it was good, in that despite them maybe not being together, he wanted those memories, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Because those memories, the good and the bad, are what shaped him into the person that he became that day.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that person he was came from those experiences and that love and the loss of love and I don't know, that's how I personally interpret it, but that's why I love it so much, you know. And again, spoilers, but that very end, you get you get that meeting in the hallway. Do you know what I speak
Yes.
of?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And she looks at him and she says, you know, what she says, which is essentially, I'll break it down to real layman's, but we're gonna try this, and this will happen, and that'll happen, and we're not gonna work, and more or less.
Mhm.
And he looks at her and he goes, okay. He accepts that. He accepts that as a possibility because he realized that he he almost needs her in his life in a way because
Yes.
she
Yeah.
did make him a better person. Despite their toxicity, she made him better because he was withdrawn and he was straight laced and tight assed language, sorry, but he was a tight ass. And
Yes.
she made him open up and made him adventurous. And to the same extent, he reined her in a bit, not to the effect of like control, but more so of like, hey, this is kind of a normal societal way to get through certain situations. Not like, hey, you got to be this all the time. Like, I don't know. They complemented each other as much as they graded against each other. And having realized that after the fact, especially when the evidence they're given, they go through it and still deciding to take that adventure again. I don't know. There's something beautiful about that.
Yeah,
I
no, I
love love.
like that.
So,
The overall theme of it, I think, was really good. Especially like you talking about like him wanting to keep those memories and everything, and like the good and the bad. I did really like that. Um, there is one scene though that I just it's one of those things where it obviously it didn't ruin the movie. I still like the movie. It's just not like in like my top 10. Um,
mhm.
but there was one scene that maybe you with you're very intellectual about movies, so I feel like you can
Yeah.
bring in some. No, you totally are. So I feel like you can bring something into it. But okay, that scene where he is trying not to
Spoiler.
get his memory. Yeah, yeah. Spoiler. This whole I think this whole talk right here about Eternal Sunshine is gonna be a spoiler.
Everything in this is going to be, I mean, we can just basically, I'm just going to wrap spoiler underneath what you're saying.
Yeah, it's everything I'm about to say is probably. Um,
All right, go for gold. Go for gold.
but when he is trying to make sure that that memory doesn't get like overwritten, basically, they go into an old memory of his, and it's
Hmm.
when he's a child, right? And it's just Jim
Hmm.
Carrey, but like small.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
what the fuck was that?
So, so the way that I took that, it wasn't necessarily, it wasn't him trying to save a memory. It was him trying to save her. He wanted to keep the essence of her in
Yeah.
him. And the way that the program is set up and the way that that algorithm works for that program is it finds through s- spoiler the items, the personal effects that he took with him, that those what they said are these are the nexus points. So this is how we're going to connect all these points in your mind,
Mhm.
and then we're going to follow that trail and erase all that. So what he was doing was he was taking he was taking Clementine, this woman that he's realized I can't live without, even if it's just a memory, and races into a memory of childhood where Clementine wouldn't be. And then what happens is the computer can't find can't find her. It can't erase her because they have escaped to a memory that is outside the web of what that program is trying to erase.
Yeah, but my whole thing with that scene is like it was a
Just the
little
oddity of it.
it was like too strange that it took away from like I feel like for me at
I
least
see that.
it took
Yeah.
away from the meaning of what was happening because it was so goofy. Like,
Well, and I think part of that though is um they were trying to play to the fact that he's him, but because he went to that memory, he's past him. Because
yeah.
there's a for another spoiler, but the scene where he's under the table
Mhm.
and he's grown, right? And the
Yeah.
table's huge, so he looks like he's small. And and sh- you know she's saying to him, hey, why don't you come out? Why don't you get out from under the table? And he's like, no, I don't want to. It's scary out there. I think that's where you're seeing like the him of the memory and the actual him kind of fighting. Because I do think they allude to that a little bit because they were worried about his mental state because this was
Mm,
something that had never happened before. That's why, everybody kind of had panic attacks at a certain point in the movie. Um, but yeah, that's just that's just what I take from it. I get what you mean. It is
yeah.
weird,
It was
when you got Jim
very weird.
Carrey, full ass man in this big old um, sink being washed by his mom. Yeah,
It's
yeah, it
so
kind of is like,
weird.
but I also think it's kind of their way of like, keeping the notion of, we are in memory. We are in
Hmm.
something that doesn't truly exist, in anything other than his mind. So, yeah, I don't know.
See,
And he
I
wouldn't
knew
remember
you'd
that
have
anyway.
something.
Like he wouldn't actually remember that. That would have been a buried memory. Being
Yeah.
that young, that's a buried memory. So, um, being that he's of an adult mind going into a buried memory, maybe they're playing off of that somehow. I don't know. I'm probably starting to try to read too much into it because you brought it up, and my brain likes to pick apart everything and get to nitty gritty of it.
Yeah, that's why I asked though, because I knew you'd have
I,
something in there.
I'm telling you, like I get on these veins and I just start looking into movies and like following the rabbit hole, all the way down. Like I'm here for it. It's exciting. I like it. Like I said, it's story, and when story's done well, there's nothing better. There really is nothing
Hmm.
better.
Yeah, I agree with that too. That's actually the strange part. Not I want to say strange, but like so my favorite movie, right? Have you seen The Departed?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Now I'm gonna say this here really quick before I get into this, guys. I promise you there are gonna be like big spoilers right now because I'm about to say something that would
I'm
ruin
sorry.
the whole movie.
I just had a scene go in my head. I just had a
Yeah,
whole scene go through my head,
it's
and
probably the same scene.
I guarantee it's the same scene.
Oh yeah. It's one of those things. Okay, so this is gonna be a spoiler, everybody. Just to clarify. So the
I hope
ending.
it is. I'm gonna cheer.
Yeah, the somewhat ending. Before the actual ending. Leonardo DiCaprio. Um, right. That's something you don't expect. Now, okay, I don't want to say that the story obviously was good in that movie, but I think the biggest thing for me was that ending, and that is why a lot of people didn't like it. Actually, was that everybody died.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And a lot of people hated that because like, wait, I don't want to watch a movie where every main character dies. And I'm like, but name a movie, like name movies that do that. Like I thought that was fantastic because I mean they're part of like a mob. So like
Mm-hmm.
yes, it makes almost sense for like almost everybody to die because it happens all the time. Um, but I think that how they did it though I will say the elevator scene. Leonardo DiCaprio when again spoilers, but we already passed that point. When Leonardo DiCaprio gets shot, right? There's no way. Like, did you expect that? Like at all in that moment, at least?
Uh, I mean, at that point, I think I expected the unexpected. I
Yeah.
think they'd played enough up, and I think I'd got a few signals that um, that things might be a little funky.
Yeah.
That like, yeah, I don't know. It seems fitting. It just does. And I probably I know I would say I didn't expect it, but I think there's that always that kernel of me that was just like, okay, there it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
it's
knew it would probably
yeah,
happen. Like,
yeah.
I think it was just the immediate of opening that elevator, and there was like no time. There was no time between it. It was just instant. I do think
Yeah.
the one reason this is my favorite movie. I just find it really good. I find it entertaining. It's still obviously not a 10 out of 10 for me because that's just it's also this movie
Nothing can be
for me.
perfect.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I
give this
mean,
like a 9.6, and that's the highest I can give a movie. Yeah, I go by my little points because that's just I think that's the best way because it's so hard to give movies like some when you rate it out of 5. How do you rate all different movies out of 5? Like I think that's crazy to me. Like I don't know. I gotta go by like 0.23 at that point. Like I can't put movies so close to each other because they're so different.
it's like I said, everybody's got their own personal feel, personal opinion, personal attachment to these movies. It's the reason a critic
Mm-hmm.
will give a movie a 4.5. I never listened to what Robert Ebert or Roger Ebert. I didn't listen to what they said because half the time the movies they're like, this movie's great. I'd sit through it and go, God, what a freaking stinker. Like that movie was, but they're looking for things different than me, or they
Yeah.
enjoy things different than me. So like Yeah, I'm with you. Like you can never truly rate anything perfect, but at the same time, you also can't rate it and expect everyone else to have that same feel. I
Oh
love
yeah, no,
Eternal
no.
Sunshine, like that to me is a high rated movie, but I can understand where somebody else wouldn't feel that way. A lot of people would hate that movie because it makes you think more. I mean, just
Mm,
plain and simple. I'll straight up say it. Like it requires you to have to think a little more because they're not just spelling it out for you right in front of you. They're playing it a little deeper. Departed, that's not too different. Did you know that every person that was going to die in some scene or other is shown with right before they died, there was an X in their scene?
really?
Yep. Go back and watch the movie.
I
You'll
watch that
you'll
movie
see
every
it. You'll
month.
see it. Right, but like especially
Okay,
since
not
you've
that
seen
much,
it
but
so many times that I think you'll pick up on it. You'll be like, okay, this is where so and so. Shit, there's the X. That's just one of
yeah,
those tidbits I picked. Though that's the little stuff I love.
I
I,
do love
I
that.
I
Yeah.
eat that stuff up. Small details in movies that you might not have noticed. Anytime I see a Ranker article or something, oh God, I am in it. I'm
Mm,
in it deep. And then I'll hit the next arrow and keep going until they bore me with something stupid.
yeah, that was actually it's not as like little of a detail, but so I watched obviously No Country for Old Men
Oh,
last night.
that's a
One
great
of
film. I
I
love
watched
that
it with
movie.
my boyfriend, and I told him, my favorite part of the movie. It's the dumbest thing to be my favorite part of the movie. There's a lot of favorite parts, but something I think just stuck out to me because I thought that was very smart. Spoilers. But I don't know how much you remember because I don't remember like when you've seen it. Um,
I
hopefully,
don't know. You just talk and I'll see if it
okay,
sparks anything.
okay. Um,
That'll be all it takes.
so when he goes to, oh god, one thing you guys will notice, I'm not good at names. I don't know names. I don't know what my deal
Which
is. They
one?
just don't stick. But um, the main character, who was the guy who had the money, who was
Yeah,
running
yeah.
away from,
I know it's Josh Brolin.
yes, Josh Brolin.
I don't recall. I don't recall. Yes, wasn't the character's name like Sue Ellen or something weird?
I,
It was
I
something that didn't fit a man. I just remember it being different.
yeah, I do not remember his name, but
It was
you
something
know
I
it's
don't know.
Josh Brolin.
I know it's Josh Brolin. Like
Yeah.
we can just straight up go with that.
So his wife, right? She was like basically the last one standing at a certain point, besides the villain, obviously.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And when he goes in the house and he basically, threatens to kill her, of course, as he
Hmm.
does. And he walks out. You don't get to know if he killed her or not, but he checks his shoes, so you know she's dead.
Oh, it's Lou Ellen. Sorry.
Oh, you looked it up.
Of course I did. I'm a nerd. I had to know. That was bothering me. But sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you know how he
He
checks his
walked out.
shoes.
Yep.
You know she's dead because
Oh, 100%.
yeah. I thought that was amazing. Throughout the entire movie, he refused to get blood on himself.
Mm. Yeah, he's
Which,
very adamant about having it clean.
yeah, he would kick his feet up when someone's blood was dripping on the floor. He
Yep.
covered the guy before he shot him with the shower curtain so that he wouldn't get splattered with any blood. So that like tiny
For being
thing,
such a dirty person
mm-hmm,
in a way. Yep. Yeah, that
it was so cool.
what do they call it? The dichotomy, I believe. Like where you're having that two different sides.
Yeah, I thought that was
Um
so cool though.
yeah, I love that movie. The way it was done. And the fact that that entire movie, everything that happened because Josh Brolin had a conscience, Llewellyn, spoiler, and went back and gave that guy water, even though the guy was dead. Had he
Right?
not, had he not done that, the entire movie's over.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, in the way they did, like, I love. I'm looking at it right now. It's Anton Chigurh, I
Mm-hmm.
think is how you say it. That was the name of the character, played by Javier Bardem. I believe I said that right. That guy nailed that part. That character is
Oh my
downright
gosh.
right because
Yes.
he's so normal, but like he is non-human.
Yeah.
The way he acts, like that scene
It's so
in the
creepy.
gas station
Yup.
is one of my favorite scenes. Like I've come across that, I don't know, popping up on like Facebook Reels or I don't know, whatever the kids are into these days. But Like legitimately, that'll pop up and I will watch it every time, guaranteed. It is such a good scene and it is so well done. But it also shows that, he's not out there killing just to kill. Like he said, life hangs on the balance of an edge. It's just, I don't know if that's direct, but that's more or less what he was saying. And like, you got to pick and like you have the choice. Like it's just,
Yeah.
they put so much into that movie. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was. He
And
did.
it's still probably being pulled apart. The people are probably still finding things to say about that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I very much enjoyed it.
how cool was it though that it had no music? Like, not a drop, not an ounce of any music.
Yeah. Well, that silence. Think about it.
Oh, it was
It
it made it
builds
so much
it
creepier.
builds that suspense so much worse.
Yes.
Think towards the end when um the sheriff comes up to that motel and
Mm.
you're stuck wondering what's about to happen.
Yep. Yeah.
And then like right when it's supposed to happen, they drop it on you. And you're like, Jesus. Like it built you up. You felt it. It did more than any music could have done.
Yeah.
And then they pull that rug out from under you. And
That
you're
was
just left sitting there built up, just like, okay, all right, all right, fine. It's just like that's what you want. You want to I mean, I'm generalizing. It's what I want, but I want to feel. I want movies to make
yeah.
me feel in some way, shape, or form.
That was a journey though, that movie. Like I
Mm,
did everything in my power to not spoil a single thing about that movie, and I didn't spoil anything. So the way it kicked off, where there was just dead people everywhere, everyone was getting shot, I was like, damn, alright, we're right into this, huh? But like
mm,
I loved it. I was here for it. I'm like, alright, keep going,
yeah.
I'm in it.
I mean, it's just so well told. It's and the and it's I think it's just because the characters are well done. They're
Mm-hmm.
not like I don't know. I'm probably gonna catch heat for saying this.
Oh boy.
I am done. I'm done with superheroes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Nope.
done. I'm
I
I'm
agree.
I'm over it. It's had its run. It's nothing more than a money grab at this point.
Yup.
Like
That's
it,
I
it
always
is.
say that.
I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of reboots and remakes
Oh yeah.
of movies that were fantastic. You want to
Yup.
reboot or remake something? Go reboot or remake some trash films. I
Mm-hmm.
got a few off the top of my head. Like, just go do that. Why are you wasting time and money? Like, do we need a live action Lion King? I mean,
Oh God.
personally, no, I don't think so. But I mean, keep it with the original. The cartoon is where it's at. Who gives a crap about the live action? Come up with a new, better story. But
Mm-hmm.
it's easier to just live action it and go, hey everybody, you can go see this in theaters and IMAX for $20 a ticket nowadays. I don't know. I haven't been to the theater in a long time, but I know it's still costly. But we're gonna go $20 a ticket, right? 60 bucks for three people to go in and get food and tickets and I mean, and for what? A story in live action.
Mm-hmm.
Like it. These last few years have been very, very difficult. But I will say that one nice thing is, you can watch some of these movies at home. I'll
Oh
just say
yeah.
it. I'll
Oh
say
yeah.
it because like I love the movie theater. I do not ever want one to go down at all. But I'm tired of paying top money for half-assed work. In my opinion, it's not half-assed, but I mean, if you're just gonna
Some.
continuously follow the superhero path, it doesn't matter how good that story is or how good like the action is. It's a half-assed story
Mm-hmm.
because you're just chasing what's already done. Like Marvel came out and did their thing, and that's great. It blew up. But then DC's trying to come out and they're gonna do the same thing, but on the other side of it. Like then and they tried to capture that lightning again, and they didn't.
Nope.
Like DC has been struggling because it was a fluke. But then it wasn't a fluke, it was not a fluke, but it was not like it was planned to work out this way. Iron Man hit, blew up, and everything just kind of followed after. Nobody had this ultimately planned out to begin with. They just maybe had like, well, if it works, we could. I imagine anyway. I just everybody's jumping on the wagon, and it's annoying, and I'm
I'm
done with it.
not.
No. I mean, like with the way that films are being made now, I don't
Yeah,
feel like
yeah.
like we're at a point, it seems like, in film where people are afraid to take chances. Like the creativity part of it is almost gone because
Yes.
it may not pan out and offer them big payout.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants a Blair Witch, but nobody wants to take a chance on it. Everybody wants to make a movie for 30 whatever. I don't remember how much they made it for. Was it $15,000? I mean, it was chump change, and it made millions.
Yeah.
I mean, those people made bank, and that's what they ultimately want, but they don't want to take the chance, and so you get the same movie packaged different. Is again, personal opinion, but
No, I think it's a
you
valid
know
opinion, especially now
I
with
think there's
like.
the seed of truth to it, at least. I mean, it might not, everybody doesn't have to feel the way I do, but I think we can all agree to an extent that,
Mm-hmm.
we're kind of settling in some regards with this stuff. All that to say, whether you agree or not, like, I think this copy paste method of movie making needs to end,
Yes, I
and
agree.
we need to let creativity come back in,
Please,
you know?
please.
Because even like, I own, well, I don't own it, but I have. Um, Independent Film Movie Channel.
Hmm.
They play Two and a Half Men nonstop.
Oh.
What's independent about that? What's film about that?
Yeah.
What's
Wait.
movie
What?
channel about that? It was essentially what's happened is IFMC or whatever, I can't remember, IFM, whatever it is exactly that they acronym it. It's been bought out probably by a larger entity, and that entity is pushing what they think people want to watch, which apparently is reruns of Two and a Half Men. But all that
Hmm.
to say, right there, you have an independent film channel. Oh, well, there you go. It's IFC. Look at me go. Anyway, you got that, and it's crap. There's no independent film. There's
Yeah.
no, there's nothing different. It's just what four other channels have, which is Two and a Half Men. Me personally, I don't like the show that much. That's just me. Other people might, but do we need five channels of it? No, no. But they need the ratings. That gets the money. Blah 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 blah. It just the creativity side is lacking. It's not that
Yes.
it's
Very
not
much.
there. The ability to get it there is lacking, and
Mm-hmm.
that's disappointing. Especially when there are production companies that do try to come out and do something different, and they either get muscled out or they get gobbled up and absorbed into a larger entity, and it's just I don't know. It's sad to see. You're not seeing that like mom and pop style uh, movie releases. Where it's some company that you know nothing about and they just come out with this absolute banger. I think of, and I'm sorry, everybody. I'm gonna say a lot. It just gets me back on track. It's
That's
kind of
fine.
like Oh, actually, we're not gonna talk about that guy. Doesn't matter. Um, See, I told you. I'm trying to get myself back on track.
Yeah. Now,
Otherwise, I'm gonna
are you gonna remember
wander.
where you were?
I'm gonna ramble. Nope, I lost it there. I lost it. It's good. It's good. It's fine. I was rambling anyway. It doesn't matter. It does not matter one bit. Everything all comes back to, can we please get some originality back into something?
Please.
Like,
Yes.
without it being just a grab at whatever's gonna make money. I mean, like, money does not rule all. It's nice, but it does not rule everything. Please. Please, let's get away from that and let's just
Mm-hmm.
have some fun.
What about like, did you see any like movies that came out last year, 2022?
Uh, Probably not.
Really?
Probably not.
I didn't actually
I
go to the
I
movies to like
I
see
have
like any.
I don't go to the movie theater because it's just not an expense that I often feel I want to make.
Yeah, me too.
In the grand aspect of living, but also I can't say I've had any movies that have made me go, I got to see that in theaters.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Last year they had a couple good ones. I don't know if you've ever heard of like The Menu.
Heard of it?
That was a good movie. I really enjoyed that movie a lot, honestly. That was my. Oh, have you seen Violent Night?
No, but I did see
Ah.
trailers for that.
Talk about a funny movie that is just honestly, look, it is okay sometimes. I know you like to think, but it is okay sometimes to just sit there and laugh and enjoy that movie.
Oh
That,
no,
oh, so
I
enjoyable.
have I love plenty of stupid movies. Don't get me
Okay, all
wrong.
right, good.
I love to think. I told you my taste is all over the place.
Right, yeah.
I've got comedies. I've got rom-coms. I've got pure drama. I've got I cover the gambit. There's no worries there. I like stupid movies because that's again, it's all about the story. What is your taste? Do you want to think? Do you want to laugh? Do you want
Mm-hmm.
adventure? You know,
It all
do, do,
depends on
do
your
you
mood.
do you want a reminder that maybe your true love will come and sweep you off your feet and take you away from this dastardly place to their castle where they'll take care of you forever and give you tons of money? Sure, sure, but just depends on your mood.
Yeah, no, Violent Night though, if
That looked pretty good.
if you like okay, if you don't like, I don't want to say gory, 'cause okay, it was a bit, yeah, but if you don't mind that and you can laugh, then you'll love it. Um,
Look, look. Just to preface this, I sat through the Human Centipede. All right.
no,
Yeah.
no,
I don't know. I don't even like to think of that movie.
I
Like that that
refused.
movie that movie. Yeah,
Mm. Yeah,
it
I've seen
got
two
me.
scenes. I've seen two
I've
scenes.
never I've never had I don't think a movie actually make me gag
Yep.
without smells being around me like that
Oh
movie did.
no.
Like
Oh.
that movie effed me up.
Yeah,
And
I'm
at that
surprised you sat
time,
through it.
oh, I sat through it. And at that time I was we'll say of an altered state of mind. And so it just like I was feeling it.
Oh
It was
god.
making me feel the feels and I didn't like it. I was like this is
Yikes.
mm, mm.
You ever watch
It's not very often. It's not very often, but I turned away from the screen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
had to. I was like, nope. So anyway, all that to say, like I'll watch the gambit of all the movies.
Okay.
Yeah. But go ahead. Sorry.
No, I
The
was just you were talking about
Violent Night.
disturbing, and it triggered my
Yep.
brain into asking if you've seen Saw.
Uh, I saw the original. Was it the original? Yeah, I saw the original in theaters.
Oh, the original wasn't too bad actually compared to what they
I
continue to
liked the
do.
original.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
do too
yeah.
actually.
The original was really good in the aspect like they played it like, again. They mm,
Is
they
this a spoiler?
did the same thing different. They did the same thing other movies did, but they did it in such a different way
Oh yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
it just slapped. Spoiler, yeah, you remember when the police finally find the place and the guy's running through the hallway and he accidentally hits that little cord?
Oh yeah.
Hmm? How
Is that
effed
what he
up?
does? He
Like
hits a. What does he hit?
there's the tripwire that triggers the
Right.
uh-huh. And then it
Oh.
just poof missed, right? Like that kind of like that whole movie, like watching that, like, and again, I think that what made Saw so good was not the fact that like it was a great story and oh look, there's this villain and there's this, like it made you connect. It's the same reason I think, like I wanted to say this earlier, but going back to The Departed, I think it's the same reason people didn't like that. They
Mm,
made you invest in these characters. They made you find something that you
right.
liked in all these characters. Even Jack Nicholson's character in that movie, like you did a different scene for me. Okay, I started laughing because I thought of this scene, but I've also seen a interview where Matt Damon was talking about this. Spoiler alert, obviously, but Nicholson has a henchman, and they take this woman out to a beach. And I believe it was a
Oh,
woman,
right. I know exactly what you're gonna say.
and they put her on her knees, and boom, pop one in the back of the head, and she falls. And Jack Nicholson looks down and goes, "Huh?" And this guy goes, "What?" He goes, "She fell funny." He goes, "What do you mean?" And the reason Jack Nicholson did that is because he knew there could be humor in that moment because and also at the same time it goes to show how evil that guy is because he's done it so many times that he's first unperturbed by what he just saw,
Mm-hmm.
and second he's thrown for a loop because she fell funny. Like that's fucked up, right?
I know it's
Like
so bad that it's funny, but like,
right,
you
and
can't help
but
but chuckle at that. Like, what the fuck?
exactly, and like in that way they open you up to him being just another guy, right? Like
Yeah,
just
yeah.
in a very small way. Because even for this hard dude, he still had this moment of like, huh, eh, well, life's funny. I don't know. They get you invested, they get you connected in some way, shape, or form, whether you
Mm-hmm.
like it or not, and then they sweep it out from under you, and you get what you get, where you're unhappy. And I think Saw did a very good job of that, while at the same time showing you that it doesn't have to be, a guy coming at you with 600 nails coming out of the skull. It doesn't have to be
Oh
that.
god, that reference.
It could be a
Yikes.
cancer-ridden patient that decided to um, make the world a better place in their own
Yeah, I
terms.
was gonna say in their
Again,
mind.
well, that's what I mean. Like it's up to the end user to decide who's right and who's wrong, and that's again what makes the movie so great, because there is no real answer,
Yeah,
because
I
you
was
could
gonna
fall either
say.
side of it. You could be the guy that says, or you could be the person that says that what Jigsaw did was good, because he did get rid of quote unquote bad people, but he also gave them the chance to be good, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
where does that put you? It doesn't really put you at a good side of camp.
No.
But then, like, let's say somebody went through it and they came out a better person. Well, then, like, it throws you for a loop. It does. Like the way he went about it, not good at
Yeah,
all.
yeah, I was
Not
gonna
good at all.
say. I don't know.
Like he had best intentions, quote unquote. But the way he went about it, not how you do it.
Yeah.
But I think at the same point, like maybe he himself saw himself as a good man, and he got cancer and now he's dying, right?
Mm,
and and so by that very fact, depending on where he leans, he might see that a higher power, took his life out from under him, and he might feel that there's all these other people that don't deserve to live, but maybe if they change, they do. So maybe that's why he went the way he did. I don't know. I'm reading deep into it, but that's just it. You don't know why people do what they do. You know, you just don't. That's the scary part of it. That's what makes that so good, is because it's true to life. We have our ideas, but ultimately, why did Dahmer do what he did? You know, he gave reasons, but are they the real reasons?
mm,
We'll never really know.
yeah.
Same with Manson. Manson had his reasons, but at the same time, we might not ever really know what that is. And then they're able to also, for a long time, appear normal. That's frightening. And that's also what Saw did. You just have this normal, cancer-ridden guy,
Yeah.
and he's completely effed in the head, obviously.
Yeah. Well, have you ever
Yeah.
seen Jigsaw? It was like 2018, I think. Jigsaw.
No, I fell out of Saw after probably like the third. I think
That's actually the first Saw movie I watched.
really okay.
Yeah, which is not.
Well,
I
but yeah, but come on now. We're coming from like different points in time here.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it makes sense to me that you would have seen that before
I was 18
the original.
when it came out, so like,
Right.
you know, it's kind of like you and
No.
your friends
Yeah.
were like, oh, let's go watch this. Let's go be scared. And
Yeah.
I was like, damn, wait, there's like a story to Saw. Like,
Hmm.
there's something to it, and I really, really liked it. Honestly, like the twist and the story to it, I thought was really cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, like, and that's what I miss in movies. Like, I just miss that feeling of the unknown. Like, it seems very few and far between where you get a movie that just kind of spoils your expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And but that's also the same reason that movies are the way they are, because people expect a certain thing, right? They read a certain thing, they expect a certain thing, and if they don't get it, then they crap on it. And with social media, I mean, it's a blessing and a curse in a way, because like I love and hate the internet. There's so much beauty
Yeah,
out
yeah,
there
yeah.
and like wonderful stuff, and then you get that like negative side of it, and it just like it's the same way it affects movies ultimately, um, because they're worried about how it's going to look out there. You know, if it doesn't blow up on, like I'm looking right here, you love the menu. Critics say it is a 7.2. You
Really?
know, that's not a bad score. I mean,
What's up? Yeah.
71% is not bad, but that's also not sitting up there. Now, if I go, so we got the menu, and then I go look up, and I assume the menu's got some fairly good story to it and such.
Oh,
I don't know, I haven't
it
seen
is
it.
a trip.
And then you go over to Avengers Endgame, 8.4 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But yet, like, where's the character development and such really in Avengers Endgame? Well, it's not there. It's just a big action-packed movie. So, like,
Yeah.
you know, like, I don't know. I don't know.
It's a
It's more
big.
about what's enjoyable versus what's a good film per se
Yeah, I think that
or
also
movie.
people really liked like Avengers Endgame because it was like cinematic and there's everybody and everything like
Right,
all the
right.
hype for
I
it.
was using it as a reference point,
Yeah.
but even still, like, you know, it yeah, it was super hyped and it was cool to see a culmination of everything they've done. But
Yeah.
then, like, I don't know.
We just keep going though.
Well, and not that they just keep going. Like, you can't change that formula. No matter
Mm,
how hard you try, you cannot change that formula. I mean, you watch. I mean, it's every one of those movies is essentially the same because
yeah.
it has to be because you're dealing with super powered beings. Like, you have to make them vulnerable, but they're also a lot of them in ways are invulnerable. And so, like, how do you how do you get that connection with your audience when like this is actually somebody? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, like, have you ever seen Logan before?
Oh yeah.
That movie, that's one of my favorite movies. I absolutely
But
love
you
that.
know, but with that one, Logan is losing his superpowers, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So he is doing what? He's becoming human.
Mm-hmm.
So it's much
Well,
easier to connect to him because you're looking at somebody who like has lost this power and is becoming weaker, and it's no different than, I mean, it's essentially a story about old age. I mean, it just is. That's what the whole Logan idea is.
yeah.
It's old Logan. I mean, they even have it in the comics, old Logan, But I think that's like, you know, why you might feel a certain way about Logan, because I feel a certain way about Logan. I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's amazing.
I thought it was well done. I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
I
is
never thought
it?
I would like a movie like that so much, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
just, I'm not into the whole. Not that
Oh,
he has, like,
oh, and Hugh Jackman with
oh
his
my.
shirt off. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
you
what
just.
sells it,
Oh, I
right?
was about to spoil something, but I realized I should say spoiler before I was about to say that.
This whole
Um,
thing's a spoiler. You're just gonna have to like
yeah.
asterisk the shit out of this and just spoiler all over it.
Well,
Just spoiler sandwich right here.
you saying, oh, Hugh Jackman with his shirt off, I was gonna go, yeah, Hugh Jackman with that tree stump through his stomach. But I was like, maybe I should just hold on for a second. But
But how beautiful that they called back to Wolverine 3 when he was dealing with, where was it? Was it Japan that he was in Wolverine 3? Do you know by chance?
I was gonna say, see, when I said that, like, I don't watch those kind of movies, I don't at
No,
all.
no, no. That's fine. I believe it's Wolverine 3. I mean, I just had IMDb up, but I'd like to go off memory. I like to test myself. But Wolverine 3, I believe he's in Japan. And, he got drawn over there because there was this great dude that they wanted to save, and he had the ability because of his powers. I mean, essentially, it's what leads to him being Logan, more or less, is because that whole scenario is what led to him kind of losing his abilities to start, I guess. That's how I'm taking it.
Hmm.
But in there's a gal. I don't remember if she did a fortune reading on him or something like that, but she says, um, you're gonna die of old age, holding the hand of the one you love,
Mm.
or holding on to what you most treasure. And that last scene in Logan, Spoiler, more or less last scene. But I know I still feel the need to preface it, even though like at this point
Yeah,
it's at your
yeah.
own risk. Um, is him with that tree branch through his stomach, dying from it at an
Yeah.
old age, holding on to X-23's hand,
Mhm.
the what he most treasures. So what a beautiful callback to a movie that really got panned so hard, but at the same time like really directed the the story to Logan in a way. And then to call back to it. Like I love when movies do that. Like I am here for that kind of thing. I'm not if you're going to give me 12 superhero movies for me to have one callback or a couple callbacks. I'm not looking for that, but it is always fun where you can have that. Or you know certain creators, gosh, Kevin Smith, he puts a lot of the same little bits into his movies. So you feel these like nostalgic callbacks. I just had somebody else, but like Quentin Tarantino, he'll do kind of the same thing. That's always fun. I like that. It's just kind of a little nod to I think more of your avid watchers.
Mm. How do you feel about Quentin Tarantino? Just because you brought him up, just curious.
He's a controversial figure.
Mhm.
I think he's a brilliant storyteller.
Mm.
I do personally. I like his movies. I know they're off the beaten path, but I do think they're still interesting. I really do.
Have you
Like, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna ask if you've seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
No, I haven't.
Really?
No, I haven't sat down for that one yet. See,
Mm.
I'm at a point where it either I wait till it hits DVD or it's on streaming.
Yeah, I
Like
don't.
I
It's
said, like
probably on
movie theaters,
something.
as much as I love movies and I want to support them, like movie theaters are just not often my first worry when it comes to what I'm going to spend my cash on. So I don't
Yeah,
really
no, that's
go out.
understandable.
Yeah. And even if it's on a streaming site, it's probably a streaming site I don't have just because.
So, obviously, I know you're not a horror streamer, but I'm a horror streamer, so I just like to know things. How you feel, or what is your favorite horror movie, right? If you could just pick one.
Mm,
I don't know if you watch horror much, but
no, I do. It's not my first pick,
yeah.
but I do watch horror. My problem is I like it to be um well done, we'll say.
Mhm.
I don't appreciate like a I'll watch when I want to enjoy it, like a B horror or C horror movie. But ultimately, like if I'm gonna sit down and watch a horror movie, like I want there to be effort.
Yeah.
I want it to be Friday the 13th. I want it to be Nightmare on Elm Street, not Friday the 13th number 8 or
Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street number 17. Like I want it to be as good as it's just I don't know. To me, I think what the issue with horror is it's become a little too predictable.
Oh yeah.
I think that is the biggest problem as to why it doesn't grab me. Now, like a movie that I love that I would consider semi horror, I mean, I'm sure it is in the genre, is like The Hills Have Eyes.
Mm.
I love that movie.
I
That
haven't
movie
seen that
is
actually.
you haven't seen that.
No,
Oh
I
man.
haven't.
First off, it's loosely based on true events.
Oh.
Loosely. Loosely.
Okay.
There was a family that was much the same in some regards. Obviously, it's trumped up, but you know, yeah, that was a movie that I enjoyed because that wasn't one that like it came at a time where we hadn't grown to expect it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the original Blair Witch. That's a great movie. That's a great movie. Like
Mhm.
it redefined horror for better or worse because found footage at the time that that came out was not done. When that
Mm.
movie came out, the way that they did it with the found footage, and then they turned around and they did an active marketing campaign
Yeah.
where they had legitimate like missing posters and they had website dedicated to this, and people were like, "This is fucking real." Like this is legit. Like it was almost you could say in a way it was like our era's, and I don't know that this is 100% true, but I'm gonna say it like War of the Worlds.
Hmm.
Or no, is that what it was? Yeah. Is it? Shoot, no, I'm gonna forget. That's gonna bug the hell out of me. Um, was it? It was. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, it was War of the Worlds. Okay. So Orson Welles had created the War of the Worlds radio broadcast, and they had done it in such a way that the only way you knew that this was a story, unless you could go, well, that's awful fantastical, was if you had caught it at the very beginning where they said this is for entertainment purposes. When he got it out on the radio and it went out, the people that came in late lost their minds. Like it created panic. People were like trying to get to bomb shelters. Like they
Oh
thought
my god.
aliens were invading the world and like humanity was done. And I think Blair Witch kind of did something like what that did, you know, because for that time, like the radio was their main news source. And the way that that story was done was in a news style. And so when people heard it, they're like, this is real. Like aliens
Mhm.
are really coming down and destroying us. And I think Blair Witch kind of played off that too, in a different manner, in the aspect of it being real enough to really grip people. Because then you had like Paranormal Activity, which was a close second. You know, it was still soon enough that people like there was still enough gullibility or maybe even I guess you could say believability that it could be real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just Paranormal Activity didn't. I mean, neither did Blair Witch. I'll be honest. Neither of them really spooked me. Um, but
But you're coming up from a different
yeah, yeah. I'm sure it
um
was worse, but
well,
um,
yeah, like you I would say like for the original Blair Witch, it's one of those where like you would have had to have been there in the time because the world was
yeah.
different. You got like that was pre 9/11. You know, that was pre a lot of this stuff that's happened that's kind of changed the way that we as a whole view the world. And that translates over to the media that we put out also. And I think I'm sure I don't know, but I would say that that's probably a reason that those movies didn't hit you in a particular manner is because by the time you got there, you're like, well, clearly this is fake. But
Yeah.
for that time, for that period, that was so not done that people took it, at least for the Blair Witch, as 100% fact. There are 3 kids missing in these woods, and it has to do with some cursed lady who's haunting those woods. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
it had enough believability for that time period. You know, it's like old fashioned ghost photos when they there was one I don't remember exactly the situation, but people were so sure that it was real because oh you couldn't do double negative at that point where you know you overlay the images and stuff to get that, and then they found out that's exactly what somebody did. You know, so it's always impossible till somebody does it, and then once somebody does it, it just ruins that whole thing. It doesn't ruin it, but you know it makes it harder to get away with.
Yeah. Have you this is a movie every time I mention it that nobody has really ever heard of. Very few people have. Have you heard of the movie Oculus?
Mm-mm.
It's a horror movie. Um
Mm-hmm.
that is my
I figured
favorite.
that's the vein that we're still on here.
Yeah, yeah. Uh
Wait,
that's my
hey,
favorite horror
hold
movie.
on. Was
Oh,
that a horror movie?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Um it's
I
definitely
kid, I kid. It's all in love.
well, I mean, it could it's better than it's not just like complete murder the entire time, you know. It's
Oh, all
it,
right. So I pulled it up here.
oh, you pulled
I'm gonna read the synopsis real quick, if that's okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I have a woman tries to exonerate her brother who was convicted of murder by proving that the crime was committed by a supernatural phenomenon. Got a 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I can see why people. It's one of those movies you have like you have to think. Honestly, that's just even after the movie, right? I finished the movie and I will say I was a little confused on like part of it of just like wait what,
You
and
know
then
what?
that's fine though. Like you look it up and then you're like
Yeah.
oh shoot, wait,
This rem- this reminds me of a different movie though.
really?
Just from what I'm seeing here.
Well, don't spoil
Yeah.
it.
No, 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 no,
Okay,
no.
okay.
I'm watching I'm just I got the trailers going, and I was just kind of I'm telling you guys, like ooh, that's a scary looking lady.
You're just
Anyway, sorry.
watching the
I get
trailer.
sucked in. I'm for it. I'm for it. I love movies. This is uh-oh.
It was
Okay,
you
I get
have
it.
to
From the
think.
producer of Paranormal Activity and
Oh, really?
Insidious.
I didn't even forget. I
Yes,
didn't even know that.
that's what it just popped up and said.
Ugh, I didn't like Insidious.
Um, I
It
don't
was
think I watched
so
that one. It
underwhelming.
didn't really interest me.
No.
And that's kind of my problem too. Like, if I don't get gripped by it, I'm not gonna see it.
Yeah.
But I might come across it later and be like, oh, okay, that's really good. I mean, I
Yeah.
have all sorts of examples like that. A big one I always think of is Breaking Bad. Like
Ah.
me, like for me personally, like I remember when I first saw trailers or commercials for that, I'm like, really? They're
Mm-hmm.
gonna do a whole ass show about making meth. They're glorifying drugs, like really, and then they're gonna show you how to make. Like I just had that. I'm sure I had the same mindset everybody at that time had because, maybe the period or whatever. When I finally sat down and watched that show, I was hooked. I mean,
Mm.
it was the character development for me, especially in that first couple seasons when everything was really going. Like the way that they did it was, I thought it was brilliant. But on the flip side of that, it's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
God.
I thought that show looked so dumb and just absolutely stupid. I'm like, why would anyone waste their time? And it was probably like 5 seasons into the show before I finally watched it. And I'm like, this is great. Like
Really?
this, because again, it's one of those things where like the show touches on very real topics and very
Yeah.
real problems, but they do it in such a way that it's so ridiculous. Like, so you don't realize that you're in a way kind of like learning something, I guess, I
Yeah.
don't
No, I
know.
see that.
Like it just the way that they're able to pull this stuff into the light and yet keep it funny. You know what I mean? Like, because that's the
Mm-hmm.
biggest thing. Like, nobody likes talking about certain subjects. Well, how do you talk about a certain subject? You find a way to get it through. How do you get it through? You put it around some wild antics. Like the character of Dennis. I mean, the guy's a sociopath. I mean, he just is. And I don't know. Maybe they're trying to make some kind of commentary about it, but it's just interesting that that's how they go about it. And I haven't looked real deep into all that, but maybe, like I said, maybe they're trying to say something there. Like, hey, look at this average, decent looking guy is a Dahmer, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I never really got into TV shows because I think my problem is attention. It takes a lot to really get me invested in something, so I typically stick to comedies because there's no thinking to it. I can't. Not that I can't get invested because you can still get invested into comedies, but
But it's a lot of time.
yeah, like
Yeah.
my favorite TV show that is That 70s Show. Um, oh, you don't like it?
Oh, I love that.
Oh, really?
It's a good day.
Oh, so I can probably quote the whole show without with just staring at it with no dialogue. I'd probably just say the entire show. I have watched it over about 11 times now. It is my comfort
Just
show.
yeah, just think of that one scene. Eric, I'm cold. Oh, well, here, take my coat.
I know.
Michael, I'm cold. Well, damn, Jackie, I can't control the weather. Like
That is
that.
such a popular line from that.
Oh, it is. 100%. It is.
I actually
I
just
love. I love it so much. I
yeah,
do. That show was
it's
great. Have you seen that
fantastic.
'90s show yet?
I was just yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I did. I just finished it last week.
What'd you think?
Um, you've seen it or?
Oh, I've seen it.
Okay, okay. I think that when the main character or when the original characters are there, it's good.
Okay.
I love the fact that Kitty and Red are there for like the entire show because that makes it. If they were not there, it just it wouldn't hit honestly. Um, but it
I'm
wasn't
with you on
terrible.
that. I feel like the only thing, like, because I did enjoy it. I actually did enjoy it.
Mm,
The characters weren't the characters weren't bad off. Um, I mean, they just went with. I kind of hated that they just like almost completely copy pasted.
yes,
I
that's
thought
my
that was
issue.
I thought that was real lowbrow and a lazy way to handle it. But I did think the show was overall well done. I mean, you
Yeah, it
got to
wasn't
remember
bad.
that we're going with that. This is the '90s, just like for me, that '70s show was 20 years, 30 years almost before. They're kind of going with that same idea. I dug on that, and for me, there was some nostalgia there with certain things that they talked about, and also, like you said, the callbacks to that '70s show. Like obviously, anytime they called back to that '70s show, you just automatically get that feeling in you, like,
Yeah.
oh, this is what I'm here for. Like, oh yeah, look, there's Fez, or whatever.
Oh God,
And
Fez in that '90s show is rough.
man, when they built that up, when
Oh,
they were building that up, I thought 100% Bob was going to be walking through that door.
really?
When they were setting her, because she lives in his house.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And so like my thought was like, okay, maybe he's the landlord, and she's going on and on about this guy and how he has all this money. Well, like Bob in the '70s show was always kind of trying to like, show himself off in a way, right?
Mhm.
So I just immediately figured it had to be him. It wasn't, and that was great, but
It was great
yeah,
that it was Fez.
I really thought it was him for the briefest of moments. I was gonna be like, "There's no way that doesn't even make sense." But they did. I mean, I thought they did some things well with it.
Yeah.
I think they touch on certain topics. I mean, and that's what made that '70s show great. Like they do well
Mhm.
on certain topics. They just nail it. Um, but then again, like to what you're saying, I do believe that a good portion of the show is just kind of pandering for that nostalgia feel,
Yeah, and it was
which
a
is fine.
little
Which
too
is fine.
repetitive. Like from that '70s show, like you said, like a copy and paste. It was too much for me, honestly. I was like,
Yeah.
ah.
Now, like I do like that they aged the characters, um, but to me, like I'm with you. I think that show isn't so much about the kids as it is about Red and Kitty,
Yeah.
because those two, I mean, that I think they're what made the original, and I think
Mhm.
they're what made this one. I mean, the original was what it was for everything that it was, but there's just always something about Red and Kitty. I
Yep.
think that always stuck out to me. I mean, there's nothing more iconic than Kitty's laugh to me.
Yeah.
Just that ha ha ha.
Oh God.
Just I told you I can do it. I can. Like I pick up inflections and voices and patterns, and I might not be great, but I can do it. Um yeah, like it just they made it for me. They really did. And I loved them for it.
Yeah, they
But I
were
I
so
feel like this.
natural.
Yes, exactly. Like they it felt, because of those two, it felt like we never left, because
Mhm.
they never changed. It really. I mean, they did, but they didn't. Um but yeah, I just feel like everything else was kind of filler around them, and the nostalgia feels that they wanted you to have. Do I hope there's a second season? I actually do.
Hmm.
I would like to see where they might take this.
It has to be a second
Um
season, right?
Well, I mean, at this point, how could they not? Like,
Yeah.
it's what I said earlier. I'm tired of remakes and reboots. This is a remake. I might be able to enjoy a little bit of it, but it's still not going to be as great as if they came out with a whole new show.
Yeah. No, that
You
makes
know.
sense.
Now I gotta ask you: have you ever seen the show Freaks and Geeks?
I have seen as much as my mom would watch on TV, or
Ah,
just
gotcha,
watching it.
gotcha.
That
That was a
actually
pretty good.
was a show I wanted to watch for a while because it seemed funny to me,
Mm-hmm.
and then I found out it was only one season because it got canceled, right? Or was it? It
Yeah,
was one
yeah.
season, right?
That's a show I would have liked to have seen continue. That's a show I wouldn't mind,
Yeah.
if they could get the right people. I wouldn't mind seeing them try to bring that back, because they had something. I mean, it could have just been all the whole ensemble cast that they had at the time that made it what it was. But that show was great. There's just, again, it's one of those that, like, even though some of it is a little outlandish, how it all goes down, there's enough there to give you that human connection, that thing that we're all looking for when we go to watch a movie or read a book. I mean, it's we're looking for some kind of connection. We want to feel, we want to be a part of that journey, of that story, and just have it affect us, I guess. I mean, that's me personally. I assume it's somewhat similar with a lot of people. I mean, maybe you're just
Yeah.
going for enjoyment too, though. I mean, that's okay also.
Sometimes, yeah.
But that enjoyment is still a connection. You're still getting something from that. You're still enjoying that story, connecting to that story to get the enjoyment you're getting, even if it's just in a fight scene. I mean,
Hmm.
it just is what it is.
We're almost at the end now, but I do have to ask, just out of curiosity, even if I don't know what you're talking about, but on what movies right now you think are on like the top of your watch list? Just because I'm curious, I love to know.
Like that new movies?
Any movie that is just like you really have been wanting to watch it, or could be a new movie that you're waiting to watch, anything like that, honestly.
Mm. Unfortunately, I don't just have a list of movies that I want to watch off the top of my head. I mean, right now it's really just Clerks 3. I've fallen out of keeping up with what's new because what's new hasn't always interested me.
Yeah.
And then I haven't really kept a revolving door of movies that I want to watch because I want to watch them all, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, that's my problem is, like, I want to watch all these movies. Um, and what I watch just comes down to what I'm feeling. Um,
Yeah, no,
it
100%.
just really does. So I could really want to watch, you know, I don't know. We could just say I wanna have some kind of uh, be in the fields, and I want to watch Pretty Woman, right? But
Mhm.
I can't find it out there on the stream world. Well, now I feel like watching something else. It's just kind of how it works for me.
Yeah. I mean, I have a watch list of over 400 movies in alphabetical order, as in like not everything's in alphabetical order. It's basically like categorized in A, B, C, D, all of that because I'm strange, and everybody who comes in my room is like, "Oh, can I look at it? I want to see what movies you want to watch." And I get such mixed opinions, and it's like, look, there are 400 movies on here, okay? Most of them are probably gonna take years for me to get to because I'm not that interested, but it's something like I'll get to. I want to remember that it's there because I will get to it. Um,
Mhm.
but then I have movies like, No Country for Old Men was on the top of my list. That and also, God, what else is on top of my list? Um, I would probably say like The Revenant is up there. Um, Probably Usual Suspects is up there as well. Oh, you want to know what's number one on my list actually?
Hmm.
Is Prisoners. I don't know if you've ever seen it before.
Is what?
Prisoners?
Prisoners.
Yeah, I think it's Hugh Jackman.
Jake
Oh,
Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, you're looking
Yeah.
it up.
No.
Oh,
This is all off the top of my head, including this. When Keller Dover's daughter and her friend go missing, he takes matters into his own hands as the police pursue multiple leads and the pressure mounts.
I have just heard that
So,
that is one of the best thriller movies, and I'm a big thriller person. And I
hmm,
see movie lists of like some of the best thrillers of all time, and all of my favorite movies are there. And then Prisoners, and I'm like, I haven't watched it yet though. Like,
hmm,
I need to watch it clearly. Like,
well,
I think
yeah,
that's number one right now.
okay, that's fair.
I'm a big
That's
thriller kind of
fair.
person, if you couldn't tell.
I mean, my I get so caught up in movies that, like, I have a revolving door of what I want to watch next.
Yeah.
Um, and it's really hard. It's hard for me to always decide. Like, sometimes I just go back to ones that I've watched. Like, I don't know. It's weird. I'm weird like that. Like, I'll just watch it if it comes up, but I don't really have anything that, like, I feel I need to watch. Like I think I told you before cast here that I've never seen Fight Club.
Right.
I
Yeah.
know I know absolutely every bit of Fight Club because this society will not let me go on without knowing it. But I've never seen it. So, I mean, technically, I could say that's at the top of my list because it's a movie I know of, but I've never seen. However, I ain't worried about seeing it that quick, you know?
Yeah,
I just,
no, I get that.
but I do know that a movie that I do want to see, I believe it'd probably be chalked up semi as a thriller, is Memento.
You haven't seen Memento yet?
Mm-mm.
Wow,
No,
that's a big movie.
yep, I know.
It's
I know,
actually
I've
a
heard
big
about it quite a
movie
bit.
that
But
a
the other
lot of
problem
people
is,
haven't
like,
heard.
another problem is it's like in and out of my head at times. I'll hear about
Yeah.
it and I won't get it written down in time, and then I'll be like, huh. I swear there was a movie. I was like, I
What
went to
a
go to
reference to the movie without you even knowing.
Yep, legitimately. Yeah, no. And that's the problem. I know enough about that movie
Oh,
to
okay,
know
okay. So you
exactly
know what
what
I'm
you're
talking about.
referencing. Yep. I know exactly what you're referencing, but I've not watched it, so it's just interesting.
You gotta make sure to
No, I was
tattoo it
actually
on you.
I was going through IMDb out of curiosity of what the top 250 movies are. It's a pretty interesting list here. And
Ah.
I just got happy because Eternal Sunshine's in the top 100.
Yeah, it's always in the
Yeah.
top list actually.
Yeah,
Which I
it's
didn't
a
know
good,
ahead of
I mean,
time.
one of those movies. It's just, it can hit you. It can definitely hit you a certain way.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Rise of the Guardians? Oh my gosh. See, it hurts my heart
That
when people haven't heard it.
that is a favorite around here.
Oh wait, you have heard it?
Oh, I was chuckling because I've heard of it. We watch that a lot. My son
Why is that your
loves that movie. It is a
'Cause
hidden
it's
gem.
so good.
I'm so upset that I got slept on because I want a part
Mhm.
two. I
Yep.
want a part two. That movie
Oh, I'm so happy you said
it
that.
just hits you like when I say I want a movie that makes me feel, that movie will make
Oh
you
my
feel. It
god.
is a kids
Yes.
cartoon movie, but my word, it's got
So good.
Chris Pine as the main character.
Oh my god, I'm so
Um,
happy you really know
yeah,
about this
like
movie.
like he's so hot right now. What else? I think Gerard Butler's in that movie. He's playing Santa Claus, I believe.
Wait, that's who
Yeah,
plays Santa?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm pulling
Oh,
names.
Santa. Tell me that's not the freaking best Santa. I love him.
No, okay, no, it wasn't. I don't
Oh,
think.
okay.
I might have completely. Yeah, no. Wow, how'd I get that so far off? That doesn't even seem right. No, heck no. I was Alec Baldwin. That
Right.
did not.
Yeah,
That
I
did
remember
not
hearing
sound like
that.
Alec Baldwin.
No, it didn't. I remember
No.
seeing that because I've probably looked it up, I'm
Yep.
sure.
Bunny is played by Hugh Jackman.
Yes, that I remember.
Yep. Tooth is Isla Fisher. Jude Law is Pitch. I mean, guys,
Wow,
there's
big
nothing
names.
but big names in this movie, and this movie got like disgustingly slept on. Let's see.
Mm-hmm. On that note here, this is probably gonna be the longest episode, and at least this I'm gonna break it up into seasons. I want to do about 8 episodes per like season, I guess. So thank you, Eld, for being here today to talk about movies. It was a lot of fun, and obviously I knew this was gonna happen. That we were just gonna chat about it forever. Um,
I can ramble. Like,
oh
mean,
yeah.
if you need a rambling man, that's me.
Oh yeah, I know. I literally like I know. I guess I don't know how many people here know who are listening to this, but when Eld streams, I always come in for the distraction because like he get him off topic in like a split second, and then he's gone for like the next 5 minutes. I
And then I
love
gotta
it
find
though.
where I was.
Yeah, and they're
That's
like,
the
wait,
worst
what were we
part.
just doing?
That's the worst part. I hate it. There's a point in here. If it doesn't get cut, they'll know exactly what it is. I went on a tangent and then I lost where I was, and I just slowly came back to it.
It was
Close
pretty funny.
enough.
But thanks for joining me today, everybody. We're gonna have another episode up next week. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but I will probably be hyping it up, so make sure to check out my Twitter because that is where it will be posted. But thank you all for listening, and thank you again, Eld, for being here. Probably have you back, more or less.
I mean, if you want, I wouldn't say no. But thank you for allowing me to be here. Thank you for
Of
letting me
course.
talk movies. I love talking movies, and I don't get enough opportunity.
Oh, well, I'm happy.
Hopefully, it was
that you're here.
entertaining enough. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not a smart man, but I've got thoughts. So,
Nah, you've
um,
got some good thoughts for sure.
I mean, yeah, movies are a good thing. Maybe next time, if we get to like a movies part two, if people liked it well enough,
Mm-hmm.
we can get some suggestions and maybe have some better jumping off points.
Yeah, yeah.
Talk about things that people want to hear about more.
That's true. That's true. I gotta watch
Or
more
do movies with
movies.
a different person. I don't know. I might not be a winner, but that's okay.
I'll
I had
probably have
fun.
movie talk with multiple people because
Oh yeah.
you name a movie that I've watched and we're going ham. So
Hmm.
I'm
Yep.
sure it'll happen.
Different, in different perspectives. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah,
That's the whole point of it.
I
Like I
love
said
movie talk.
earlier, everybody watches a movie and everybody gets a different, more or less gets a different feel off it. Or something different sticks to them. Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah. So all right, I will catch you guys next week, and thank you everybody who came to listen, and thank you Eld again. All right,
Thanks,
see you
guys.
guys next
Bye.
week.
The only thing, like, when situations like that happen is like you don't understand growing up what they are going through,
Mm-hmm.
and they might not even realize that there is an issue with